So, hey, Soheil and Sushma. I hope you guys are well today, and I hope you guys got the time to catch up on the decision meeting for the committee that we were supposed to take today. So, I hope you have gone through the facts, and let's just jump straight into the discussions. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep. Thank you, Gautam.
thank you, Gautam.
Okay. So, the facts, as per the case, mentions that data. Am I spelling the name right? Uh, Let me just check once.
Actually, it is Kritika.
Pritida, right? And so the first fact I feel, which comes under the purview of our discussion today, would be the fact that Ketita had borrowed $20,000 from
Yeah.
Aditi, who's another of her clients, is one of her clients, and also her in-law at the same time. Like Kredita, who's our the person in question today, her husband's sister. So she would fall under the category of in-laws, I feel. And but she's also a client of Kredita, and she has borrowed $20,000 from her for the purpose of closing off a debt that she incurred due to excessive spending that she did. And she also wanted to hide this fact from her husband, so she asked Aditi to not discuss about this with her husband, who is I think his name is Nicola. So this is the major point of fact that I feel like our discussion should revolve around. So, do you guys have anything else to add on to this?
Yeah, I totally agree with you.
Yeah, I'm agree with you, Gautam. Yep.
Okay, so I feel going ahead, let's just discuss the allegations that you feel, and which rules or what do you feel have caused a breach of the FP standards. Like,
Yeah.
if you can, like, let's just start the discussion. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
anyone I can give you guys to go ahead with.
Yeah, thank you, Gautam, for your good explanation. And based on your points that you refer, I've actually found two rules that are breached based on FP Canada standards. The first rule is about rule number 11, which tells about just let me just let me read the
Yeah, yeah, sure,
FP
take your
Canada
time,
standard.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rule number 11 says that a certificate shall refrain from personally lending money to a client or personally borrowing money from a client. So Credita, I borrowed money uh, let me check, from Aditi,
Yeah.
who is her client. So breaching the rule of not lending to or borrowing from the client. So it's one of the rule that is breached.
Okay, so
Uh,
you feel by borrowing that $20,000, she has breached this specific rule which falls under the conflict of.
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And the next rule that I would like to talk about it is Rule 8C. And in Rule 8C, it tells about where a conflict of interest arises during the course of an ongoing relationship with a client,
Okay.
either between the client and the certificate or between the certificant's client in the case of a joint engagement. And in this case, I agree that Credita has an ongoing relationship with Aditi and Nicola as their financial planner. And when Credita borrowed money from Aditi without disclosing it to Nicola, and later face difficulty repaying the loan. So there is a conflict of interest that arises.
But which point, Sohail, do you feel in this instance has caused that specific, breach of conflict of interest? Like the, which specific action of hers? You feel her not telling her husband is what led to the conflict of interest?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Okay.
because because Carditas asked the Aditi do not disclose it.
So do you feel that puts an obligation on Kirdita to tell her husband about the money that she's borrowed from another one of her clients? Does it impose that kind of a standard, you feel, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And I
Sushma,
feel
do you
that
have anything to add here?
Mhm.
Sorry to cut you off, but
No, no, it's okay.
yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I really appreciate the findings that you guys have covered here, but I would also like to add, if you guys allow me.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. One thing I have also found that by borrowing from a client, which is Aditi, and concealing her debt from another client, which is her husband, Anderson, that breaches the uh, code of conduct regarding the transparency. So she has failed to maintain that professionalism by failing to uphold the standard of integrity, transparency, and professionalism according to the FP Canada Standard Council.
Okay, makes sense. Makes sense. Okay, so do you have anything else to add on to these?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
So, despite of breaching the standard of FP Standard Council, there is no evidence that she took advantage of the loan received from Aditi, because her intention was always there to repay, which reflects her to be responsible and accountable to that loan, right?
Mhm.
So one of the strong fact about Kritika is that she is seeking help by uh, by taking some yoga classes in order to get rid of the impulse buying. So this action shows her commitment to personal improvement. So serious decisions like banning from the industries for a certain period of time or taking a license, what I feel is should not be taken into consideration.
Okay, you feel so because of the commitment she has to improving that she has, doing right now. So you feel her penalty or her, the like the guidance or the, what do you call it, going ahead with the penalty or something. You feel it shouldn't be that harsh on her, or it shouldn't be like coming from a place where it is um, imposing heavy duty and penalties, right?
Not really, but agree with the harsh decisions that I think we it should be avoiding for a certain for some certain circumstances. But yeah, she has violated the FP Canada Standard Council's laws and also has compromised her professional boundaries with the clients, which are apparently her family, right? But we cannot also neglect the fact of accountability and the responsibility which is reflected on her actions by taking yoga classes and also have a commitment to repay her debt at any cost at any time.
Okay,
But we
makes
can find
sense.
also, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Gautam,
No
but
worries,
we
no
can
worries.
also find or see any evidence that she has taken that loan for some bad reasons. She hasn't taken advantage of that loan, right?
But that doesn't justify the fact that she has taken a loan, right? Just because she hasn't taken the loan for some bad reasoning or some harsh purposes doesn't justify the fact that she has kind of taken a loan in essence from her client, right? Like Soheil
Mm.
rightfully stated in the beginning. I feel. But coming back to that point, if you are done, that is Sushma. I feel like I cut you down. Like, did I cut you off? Were you saying something? Were you continuing?
No, no, I'm happy you can continue. Yeah.
Okay, so coming back to
Mhm.
the the points, I feel when we discussed about the conflict of interest, I feel like the money that she took from Aditi will not fall under the category of conflict of interest, specifically section 11, because section 11 talks the rule 11, that is section 11 or rule 11, it specifically talks about lending money to a client who is not a family member, who is not an immediate family member. So, like, considering the fact that the client in this case is a family member, the rule 11 will not be applicable, is how I see it, because she eventually borrowed it from a client who is also her sister-in-law or daughter-in-law. So in a way that comes under the in-law rules, which is included when we talk about, uh, blood relatives, or the relatives who will be included for the
Mhm.
purpose of this section. So wouldn't you guys agree with that point, or how do you feel?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a good point that you
it's a
refer.
good point. I just checked,
Yeah.
and you also reconfirmed it. I really appreciate you, Gautam.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah, so I feel section 11 should not be applicable in this case, because when the client is a member of the client's immediate family and she will be considered an immediate family, we feel like, I feel personally like section 11 shouldn't be
Mhm.
applicable here. But like Sohail rightfully said, section 8, subsection C will definitely be applicable, because it's an ongoing relationship with the client and the certificant. So now the conflict of interest has arisen in my eyes when Nicholas raised an issue regarding this money that she has borrowed from Aditi. That is when the conflict of interest has arisen, not when Nicholas, the fact that Kiridita took money from Aditi and hid that
Mhm.
from her husband. That does not fall under conflict of interest, or that does not fall under confidentiality for that fact. I personally feel that way, because it's not in a business or a professional capacity that she borrowed money from Aditi. She borrowed money. It's like, it could be that she borrowed money from Aditi in a very personal sense, like as a family, like you would borrow money from a father, like you would borrow money from a sister. In that sense is how she borrowed money from Aditi. So there is no need to disclose such a fact to a client, for confidentiality reasons, and even for the fact that she did not disclose this, which is a personal factor of the certificant, to another client, completely justifies. So I don't feel the conflict of interest occurred when, she did not disclose the fact about borrowing money to her husband, that is Nicola. But it it rose when Nicola got to know about the fact that she has borrowed money and raised it as an issue for the client. Now, that is when there is a conflict of interest which is arising between two different clients, one Aditi and one Nicholas. And there is a trio of conflict between the three of them, like the financial planner, which is Kirdita in this case, and her two immediate family and clients as well, who are Nicholas and Aditi. So now this puts in a situation of conflict of interest, where she should, like it's properly mentioned in Rule 8, subsection C, that she should immediately give it in writing regarding the conflict of interest to the client, and get a written confirmation regarding from the client, to like as a consent that she can go ahead and continue giving these financial advisory services beyond any withstanding beyond any of these you know um, conflicts that have been mentioned here. So we will have to, like, the financial planner would have to like get that from writing and follow the procedure that is mentioned under here to clear herself of the conflict of interest. So definitely 8 section C, subsection C will apply, like Sohil said. And do you guys have anything else to add?
Not really. Yeah.
So I also feel, looking back at the principles of the ethical code of conduct that we're discussing, I feel principle 8 will also play a major role in this. What do you feel?
Uh,
Principle 8 talks about professionalism here. It says
Yeah.
that a certificant shall act in a manner reflecting positively upon the profession. So I feel here she did a little bit of, comes in conflict with this specific principle, because even though, first I would like to question, the fact that a financial planner as Kirditi, who's been working with let me just check where she was working with. She was working with a investor, right? She was working with JKL Credit Union. So
Yeah.
mhm,
being an employee of JK Credit Union and being a financial planner, you holding a problem of debt realization or over like impulsive buying like, that kind of an attitude reflects really badly on your professionalism. I feel personally, because that kind of facts, first of all, puts the financial planner in a very tough situation. If you yourself are not able to financially plan for your future, how will you be able to give me advice? That is the
Yeah.
Mhm.
question which arises, right? So
Yeah,
I
right.
feel the professionalism somewhere is being, like, hampered there. So I feel principle 8 is also being affected. Would you guys agree with me?
Yeah, I
Mhm.
totally agree. If you don't mind, can I add something to your
Yeah, sure,
points?
sure. Go ahead, Sushma.
What I also feel is principle two, integrity is also violated,
Okay,
right?
why do you feel so?
Because it imposes with the moral rules and duties, which
Okay.
is encompassed by honesty and justice, and she has covered her actions by covered her actions like taking money from her sister-in-law and hiding it from her husband. So it lacks the honesty.
Hmm.
So it comes under the principle to integrity.
Okay. But if you look at the wordings of this principle, Sushma, it
Mm,
talks about the letter and the spirit of code of ethics. Okay.
mhm,
So when we're talking about code of ethics, we are referring to the ethical code of conduct and misconduct, which is mentioned in our FP standard of procedures
mhm.
and the FP planners accountability and their responsibilities. So, under this, will it fall under an integrity issue if, for example, I might have lied about my financial situation to my parents, which does not fall under the professionalism? Will you
Hmm.
consider that as questioning my integrity when it comes to my professionalism? I mean, like, it's a debatable question, right? I feel like integrity can still be debated that way, like, because she did not perform any uh integrity related issue when it comes to her professional deliverance of work.
Yeah.
In her professional capacity, she did not, like, you know mess up with the asset allocation because of her debt consolidation, or she did because of her impulsive buying attitude, or because she lied to her husband. She did not put the client, not looking at her husband as a husband, but now looking at her husband and relatives as a client. She did not put the client in a harmful situation financially. What do you feel?
Yeah, that is, I totally agree, which I initially point out that point that if that she hasn't taken any advantage of that lended money, right? Borrowed money, right?
Yeah.
So if we see from the eyes of the client, which is Nicola,
Yeah.
so from the eyes of the Nicola, I think it has breaches the principle of integrity
Hmm. Yeah.
because it I'm sorry,
Yeah,
because
no
it
worries.
encompasses the honesty and what else it honesty and the justice.
But
So
in
Nicola
what
is,
sense are you mentioning, Sushma? That is my question. See, in Nicola's point of view, you feel like Kdita has performed some kind of an integrity dishonesty, right?
yeah.
But in professional sense, what is that dishonesty? She did not tell about borrowing money from her sister-in-law to her husband. It has no relevance of telling that fact to a client. For example, if I borrowed money from, like, my husband's sister-in-law, it makes sense for me to mention this fact in a personal capacity to my husband. But in a professional sense, think, will it make sense for me to disclose a fact about one client to another client?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. She is
Right?
also maintaining confidentiality. Yeah.
Exactly. She has to. She cannot disclose one conversation that she has with the client to another client. In that sense, she cannot tell her husband that she borrowed 20,000 from one client.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. I really
Yeah.
appreciate you correcting me.
No worries. No worries. So, you guys have any other points adding
Uh,
out, like, here?
just one more point, and I would like to know your idea about it. And about Rule 31, it talks about a certificant shall not disclose or use any personal or confidential information. And
Okay.
I think that Kredita used confidential information about Aditi and Nicholas. What
Where
do you
did she
think?
use that confidential information is my question. In her personal professional capacity, you feel she did use confidential information to disclose something? Did she use
Mhm.
it to financially benefit herself? Did she use it anywhere? Where did it come into use?
Uh, because she asked for the personal because she asking for the loan,
Okay.
and she asked this for her personal gain. Oh, you
Okay. So
asking me
where
for
did
the
she
loan?
disclose this information? She did not tell this to her husband. She did not tell this to anybody.
Hmm. Okay.
So there is no
Hmm.
breach
Hmm.
of confidentiality, is how I see it.
Yeah, she
Hmm.
hasn't.
Okay. Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, so I feel the only breach that has taken place is the conflict of interest, where she should have followed the rules according to the procedure that is laid down. If there is a conflict of interest arises between two clients or clients and certificants, and that we will work on that. I feel everybody will agree that that rule will apply for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
looking at the principles, I would say that professionalism would apply here.
Hmm.
She has somewhat violated the professionalism here,
Yeah.
and I feel there is one more point that we are missing. Okay. So there is the essence in our rules when we talk about professionalism, when it talks about ethics. So there is an essence in our rules which talks and gives the certificant a kind of power or a kind of obligation to always disclose what is professionally and financially best for the client. Okay, so I
Hmm.
feel one of the rules here
Hmm.
incorporates that, like that essence from the ethical standpoint of view, where a financial planner or a person who's providing financial planning should make sure that he does this in the best interest of the client.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, so now when we're talking about the best interest of the client, do you feel her borrowing 20,000 for paying off her debts is in the best interest of the client?
Not really.
No.
So I feel there is a violation there as well, right? But
Yeah.
I'm just trying to
Yeah.
find out which exact rule is it, but I'm not able to find it out here. But probably I'll be able to pinpoint in some time. But
Hmm.
yeah, is there anything else you guys need to add? So there is this one point. I'll just have to go through the rules again. If you guys remember, you can also let me know. There was this one point which talks about providing the best professional, the best this thing to the clients, to the your clients, whoever that is. You need to give them the your best self and your professional self, and you need to make sure that all the this thing are disclosed properly, and you do it for their betterment. So I'm just trying to find out that specific rule.
Okay.
Okay, so anyways, I don't want to like waste time going into this, and so now that we are discussing here, so probably that one point we can get back to it while we are drafting our final report for when we are drafting our decision for the for key data. So we will get into the details, but you agree, right? There is an essence of giving your best self as a professional in this circumstances which was missing. So
But I
Yeah,
that
I'm
way
have
we
agree
will.
some
with
doubt.
you.
Yeah, yeah, go ahead. Like, if you have any discussion points, we can take them
Yeah,
out.
because talking about the best interest of the client,
Yeah.
it has not mentioned any services that she is giving to Ander, Aditi, and Nicola.
Okay, but she is their financial planner, right?
Yeah.
Eventually, maybe at the moment she's not giving any services, but on record, she is the financial planner. Like Nicola and Aditi are her clients on record. So being her clients, it becomes a professional duty to
Yeah.
take care of all the points and all the incorporate all the ethical rules which are embodied in the principle of code of ethics and the
Mhm.
FP standards. So incorporating that, the FP standards code book, it kind of envisions this kind of a an attitude from the financial planner or the certificants towards the client, which needs to exert the best possible solution for the client, which I feel is missing in this case when she specifically borrowed 20,000 from a client in a personal capacity, because she felt like she could be able to do that. So I feel that is somewhere like she lacked that kind of a principle or a rule which states that you need to act in the best interest for the client. I feel she missed out on that part a bit. But yeah, going ahead, so what do you feel like? We have covered all the allegation points, and we have covered all the sections like which are important to be mentioned here. And going forward,
Uh,
so what
yeah.
do you feel are the decisions? So let's just get back, like get to the final part of our meeting, that committee meeting, which will be the decision taking time, and like what sanctions will be allowed, what sanctions will be awarded, and let's discuss that.
Yeah,
So
before that, I'm sorry. Before that, can I add some my point of view?
yeah, sure, sure.
So, yeah, so the points that you have generated regarding the lack of professionalism and integrity, and just now you explain about that she has failed to provide the best
That
interest of.
falls under integrity in a way. Like it is a part of integrity. She has to be honest and uh give her best this thing. She has to be very competent. She has to be very fair when it comes to giving decisions to the client. She needs to uphold the client's interest first, which she did not. So I would think, or I feel like it would be encompassing the integrity principle.
So what I literally have a doubt, no, not a doubt, dilemma is that it has made me in a situation which has created me cognitive dissonance. Is that first she has not taken that amount for her for any bad intention, with any bad intention,
True.
right?
True that.
So maybe, maybe she has taken that. No, she has taken that loan for the debt consideration.
Not
But
debt consolidation. Yeah, she has taken the loan for debt consolidation. Yeah.
yeah, uh, but her intention was not using the client's money against their interest, right? She has borrowed that fund by considering a close relationship with her in-laws, right?
True that. But in a client's perspective, do you feel borrowing money is in the best interest of the client?
Yeah, the
If
client
for
can
example,
use this fund for investing opportunities.
exactly, you can use this 20,000 for investing, which will generate more money for you. Instead
Okay.
of that, I am using that money to pay my consolidated debts, which is not in the best interest of the client. Maybe it is not causing a lot of harm to the client, but it is not in the best interest of the client.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you, Soheil. You put a
Thank you,
really,
Sushma.
really,
Yeah.
helping, insightful point. So that is one the point which has made me in cognitive dissonance.
Okay.
Initially, you were saying like it hasn't breached the integrity, right?
Yeah.
So from the eyes of the clients, from the point of view from the Nicola, she has breached the integrity because she has not done the best interest of the client. That's what I
Why
mean.
for Nicholas? How do you feel it is not best for Nicholas? It is not best for Aditi.
Yeah, because Aditi and Nicolas are husband and wife. No,
No, Aditi and Nicholas are not husband and wife. Nicola and Kiriti are husband and wife. Aditi is Nicholas' sister.
I think
Let me check. Aditi is
Aditi.
okay.
No, Nicola is Aditi's husband.
Yeah,
Kritika's
Oh,
husband is Anders.
Kritika's husband is?
yeah.
Anders.
Nicola is husband's Nicola. Aditi.
Aditi.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think
Okay,
it could
so the
impact them.
client, okay, so that way, so then we would say that Nicola is not a direct related to like Aditi, like to Kirdita in a way.
Yep.
So to her, like there exists a conflict of interest, but how do you feel that she did not do it in the best interest of the client, like her professional, like in her professional capacity? I just want to understand how you feel that she did not perform best as a client to Nicholas. She did not do that for Aditi, I understand,
Yeah,
but how did she not do this for Nicholas? See,
because
Nicholas and Aditi are personally related. That
yeah,
has nothing to do with Kirdita. For Kirdita's eyes, Nicola is one client and Aditi is another client. So
no,
now,
no. I'm sorry,
mm,
because what I say is because she borrowed from Aditi, Nicola on a furious mood, she
yeah,
come to Afri Canada. That's why.
exactly. Because of his personal feud, he got angry and he raised a conflict of interest. That is the reason we are applying Section 8, subsection C, which rose an conflict of interest when Nicholas got angry. That is when the conflict of interest has arisen. Until Nicholas got angry, there is no conflict of interest. There is no, I personally feel there is no breach of any, confidentiality or the best interest when it comes to Nicholas specifically.
But Nicola and Aditi have the same benefit as they are they are at the same page because they're
But they are different clients, right? Or are they the same client?
They're different clients.
Yeah, they're different clients.
Mm.
So their personal feud will not be reflected professionally. Like what happens in families, like will be personal to them. So if she has borrowed money, Kirita has borrowed money from Aditi, Aditi has told Nicholas, or she has lied to Nicholas, Nicholas doesn't know. It has nothing to do in her professional capacity of relationship between Kirita and her clients, which are Nicholas and Aditi. It will only be hampered when this decision somehow, financially, like, is a loss for Nicholas or Aditi.
All
Like
right.
Soheil rightfully pointed out, borrowing the 20,000 from Aditi causes a little bit of, not in the best interest for Aditi.
Yeah.
So that way it causes a problem there. But
Mm.
that is not the case in Nicola's case. Nicola
Mm.
got angry because he realized that a personal matter has caused a kind of an anger in him, which has caused a conflict. Now that conflict has arisen, we will ensure that Section 8C is applied
Yeah, sure.
and we will pause their work because he got angry and now the relationship is paused.
Yeah.
So
okay. Good.
what else, like, do you feel like anything else to add on, or should we just jump into the decision making points?
Yeah, let's jump into the decision making.
So okay, coming into the decision making point, like Sushma rightfully pointed out during the starting that the the reasons for her taking money from Aditi was not for bad reasons, and she did like take it to like finish off her debt, and she has been like going to therapy, and she has been progressing, and she has been like trying to recover from whatever wrongful past or influence that she had. So we should consider that while taking our decision, I feel. We shouldn't go really harsh, and we shouldn't be imposing something which is very crucial and ending her career. So we shouldn't be going harsh, or we won't be taking any harsh, is how I feel, harsh decision or harsh penalty. Will you guys agree with me on that point, or do you have anything to add on to that?
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, so
Okay.
coming to the first point, like we can just simply say that instead of, when it comes to weighing whether banning her certification or giving her a suspension, I feel suspension will be a better option. So I
Mm-hmm.
feel we can probably suspend her for 6 months,
Mm-hmm.
which might, give her time to go through her FP standard approved credit courses that she can take on, which are based on ethical practices and confidentiality related courses. We can suggest her something to go through, which can be, say, 25 hours, 36 hours courses, so that she gets a better understanding and clear understanding of what rules are to be like, how, what professionalism is like. We should give her some courses where she learns and gains knowledge regarding professionalism that is being maintained in our standard. So I
Mhm.
feel a course will also entail her and help her learn from what she has committed so far. So suspension going first. Second, we will impose some kind of learning, encouraging courses for her. And you feel, should we raise some kind of penalty as well?
Uh, you mean as
Yeah, yeah,
as a fine?
Yeah.
Hmm.
yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so going into the penalty part, I feel we can charge her a penalty which might stand around, say, $2,000 to $3,000, based on the legal fees that the people have been going through, and the respondents, and the committee that we are facing, and all the expenses that we have incurred to come to a decision here.
Mm.
Those fees we will, implement that as a penalty on her, which will be an amount which could be around 2,000, 3,000. We will have to calculate that while we're drafting the actual report. And going ahead, so, and CFP marks, what do you think we should do about her CFP marks? I feel until the time that she is suspended, we should revoke and suspend her, CFP marks as well, so that she's not able to market that anywhere outside, or she's not able to take any decision based on that, or there is no adding, or a system where this is still working. We will temporarily suspend it until the time her suspension on her certification is on hold, which is probably 6 months, is what we agreed on. So probably something like that we will draft out, so everybody is in agreement with these decisions
Yeah, revocation of the certificate. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
until she's suspended, not like